I'll be back to you again, yeah. I'll be back in a moment.
Taoiseach, when in her post-summer press conference the German Chancellor said that there were no changes necessary to the Irish bailout austerity agenda, by which, in case we forget, working people and the poor are salvaging the financial market speculators in Europe, when she said that and that everything was fine with Ireland, in other words, the cuts, the crisis, hundreds of thousands unemployed, that's fine, and there would be no change. What did she mean? Now, during the general election campaign, Taoiseach, you rushed over to Berlin to be at the side of Chancellor Merkel. You sought security and a profile and gravitas in her shadow. Isn't the truth now that Chancellor Merkel has stabbed you in the back, and that she has told the real truth and the real thinking of the European elite with regard to the Irish austerity bailout agenda, that the Irish people will continue to be forced to pay? Isn't the truth that you have tried to string along the Irish people with fairy tales about miracles emanating from Europe regarding the millstone of debt by bankers and speculators, which our people are forced to carry? And the seismic shift that you spoke about in June with regard to debt, how does that now stand in view of Chancellor Merkel's statement that Ireland doesn't need any changes, even as another billion goes to the AIB bondholders on the 1st of October? And lastly, Taoiseach, you must comment on the claim made in the media today that the government is contemplating the stringing out of this massive burden of debt over 40 years to pay off in particular the Anglo-Irish bank gamblers and others. Is that the truth? And are you prepared to condemn not only the children of this nation, not only their children, but their children's children, to carry this millstone of debt for which they bear no responsibility? Taoiseach, isn't the truth that your claims about major changes that would alleviate the debt burden, totally unjustified burden on the Irish people, isn't that utterly exposed as a sham in view of the German Chancellor's statement?
The German Chancellor agreed with and was very supportive of the European Council decision on the 29th of June. And that said, the statement from the commitment by the heads of state or government on the 29th of June said, and I quote, "to examine the situation of the Irish financial sector with a view of further improving the sustainability of the well-performing adjustment." Now, as I said to Deputy Martin, the focus of the discussions that have been taking place and that are taking place here, the focus of the political interaction that has taken place, that will take place, is on how best we can restructure, re-engineer the level of debt placed on the Irish taxpayer and get the maximum benefit and result from that in the country's and the people of the country's interest. And those discussions centre around how best that can be done. I've seen comment, I've seen speculation about what is actually under discussion, and I don't deal in speculation, to be frank with you. Much prefer to have clarity about results that are in our people's interest. So it's true to say that a range of issues and proposals have been and are being considered as to how best that level of debt should be re-engineered and restructured. Insofar as the heads of government are concerned, everybody signed off on that agreement. Many people thought that comment or that statement from heads of government could never be achieved. We now have to build on that. And as I pointed out to the other deputies, meetings have taken place at an intensive level between Department of Finance officials and their counterparts in a whole range of European capitals. And clearly when I meet with Prime Minister Monti, President Hollande, and a number of other leaders this weekend, where details of meetings are being finalised, this obviously will be a focus of our talks at heads of government level. What we're interested in, as I'm sure you are yourself, Deputy, is to get the best deal possible for our people. And that has been and will be the continued focus of our discussions and our negotiations. And there is a very strong political support that this decision of the Council be implemented. I'd like to think that it would be implemented as soon as possible in everybody's interest, but it's to get the best result for everybody.